What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality Podcast. I am your host. I am Caitlin Kenna-Smith, and today's episode, we're going to be getting into not a new series, but a new type of episode. You know, for those of you who've been listening to the podcast for a while, then you're pretty aware that I am competitively training to become a competitive CrossFit athlete and to be more competitive in the sport. So, a lot of the lessons that I share on a lot of my different episodes come directly from things that I learned from training, because one thing that I've learned over the last decade plus doing fitness is that fitness teaches you much more than how to be stronger physically. It teaches you a lot about how to be stronger mentally and how to become a better person in all walks of your life. Because a lot of the lessons that I learned from just working out, but now training, because there's a huge difference between working out and training, you can apply to life, to your job, to your relationships. So I want to be able to share the things that I learned throughout my training sessions, because each and every day I go into the garage, except for Sundays when it's my rest day and I'm praising God for, or if it's an active recovery day, I generally learn less on those days. But I always learned something, at least in a week's time. And I spend a lot of time in my garage just training every single day. I'm in there, 3-4 hours, depending on how much I have to get done and how long transitions take between pieces, depending on how fatigued I am. But really the biggest thing is the mindset behind training is so different than the mindset behind working out. Yes, if you're working out, you're going to have to find the discipline or build, because you don't find discipline, you build it. You're going to have to build the discipline to be able to do it when you don't want to do it. Now with training, there's a little bit of a different aspect to it when it comes to the mindset behind it. Because not only do you have to be willing to build the discipline to go out and do it, but it's about going out and doing it and working really fucking hard while you're out there. And I'm not saying that people who just work out and you're not training to be an athlete, that you don't work hard in the gym. You do, but there's a lot more mental work that goes into the training piece. So let's get into this first lesson. Now, the biggest lesson that I learned from last week happened on Friday. Now, my training schedule right now is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we train, Thursday, active recovery, Friday, train, Saturday, train, Sunday, rest day. So on Friday, coming off of an active recovery day, I tend to be a little bit more fresh, but also it's the end of the week, so I'm not quite as fresh as I would be typically on a Monday. Plus, I have a lot of just emotional stress and mental stress and physical stress from work and life. It all builds up. Your body responds to stress the same way, whether it's a workout stress or whether it's a mental or emotional stress. Now, on Friday, I had Friday was a tough day. There were just a lot of different pieces, and a lot of these pieces were very challenging, although effort is a choice, so everything is challenging. So the piece that I'm going to refer to was the first piece that I got into for the day. So it was every 21 minutes, scratch that. It was every 3 minutes for 21 minutes, meaning that every 3 minutes you would do 12-calorie assault bike, and then dumbbell DT. So DT is a hero WOD, typically done with a barbell, where you do 12 deadlifts, 9 hang power cleans, and 6 shoulder to overheads. And DT is 5 rounds in the hero workout. But for this, it was dumbbell DT and just 1 round of it per 3 minutes. So 7 rounds total. So just to paint a picture so that you guys understand the piece, because I feel like a lot of people get kind of confused when it's like every 3 minutes or every minute on the minute. So at 0 minutes on a 21-minute clock, all right, at 0 minutes, I would do 12 cal assault bike, 12 dumbbell deadlifts, 9 dumbbell hang power cleans, and 6 dumbbell shoulder to overhead. The amount of time that it took me to finish that within 0 to 3 minutes is how much rest that I have to take. So every 3 minutes, I start another round. So at minute 0, minute 3, minute 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. So, for example, I was getting about 53 to 60 seconds of rest, meaning I was finishing it in about 2 minutes to 2 minutes and 5 seconds, 2 minutes and 7 seconds, depending. Now, I painted a picture. So just to kind of recap that, because I know that was a lot of just explanation, which is the beauty of having a podcast. Long form content is a beautiful thing. However, sometimes it can get a little messy with the rambling. So every 3 minutes for 21 minutes, 7 rounds total, because 3 times 7 is 21, 12 calorie assault bike, 12 dumbbell deadlifts, 9 hang dumbbell power cleans, and 6 dumbbell shoulder overhead, and then I would rest until the next 3 minute interval began, and then I would go again. As I was warming up for this piece, I didn't believe that I'd be able to maintain the weight that my coach prescribed for the dumbbell portion for the 7 rounds. He prescribed 35 pounds, which is a typical weight in CrossFit for females. It's usually the RX weight for simple workouts like this. And I looked at it initially in the morning and immediately started to have fear and doubt in my head because I said, fuck, 35 pounds for me at this point right now is heavy with my shoulder to overhead game. My shoulder to overhead ability is weak. It's getting stronger because I've been working a lot on vertical and horizontal pressing. For example, a year ago, I wouldn't be able to do this workout even with 30 pounds without completely falling apart. So I was warming up. I worked up to 35 pounds and I tried literally one shoulder overhead and I missed it. And I was like, fuck, there's no way I'm going to be able to maintain this for 7 rounds. I'm going to lower the weight. I lowered it to 30 pounds and I proceeded to do the workout. It was tough with 30 pounds. I almost failed many times on reps, but didn't come close to failing within the time domain. That's important. Maybe I almost failed some reps, but that shit happens. But I was still getting, like I said, 53 to 60 seconds of rest, which I would have loved to have more rest because it was a tough piece. The 12 cal assault bike always gets you. But that's the point. Right? I don't train for it to be comfortable. I train for it to be challenging because that's what makes me better. It doesn't make me better to make it easier. So after I finished the workout, I messaged my coach to let him know that I modified the workout and told him, instead of hitting the 35 pounds because I felt like I couldn't do it for the shoulder to overhead, I lowered it to 30s and it did the trick. That's what I said. And instead of liking the message or sending a little heart or, giving me a thumbs up emoji or whatever, he pushed back. And, this is why Eric is my coach. And this is why I fucking need a person like him in my life and why I love having him in my life. And because of how much better he's made me, because of how he pushes back like this. Most coaches would just do the thumbs up. But that's not the kind of coach that I need. And that's not the kind of coach that I am for my people. And here's why. Because he truly wants his people to win and to become better. And the only way for his people to become better and to win is to push back on the mindset when we get into our heads and we start to have that fear and that doubt. Again, this is why he's my coach. He truly wants to make me better and is going to push back in order for me to overcome the mindset that's holding me back from becoming better. It's exactly what I do for my clients. So that's why I appreciate getting it in return. The first couple coaches that I had back when I did like bodybuilding and just basic working out, for general health, they would kind of sugarcoat shit. And I didn't like that, which is why Eric has been the best coach that I've ever had, and I can't ever see him not being my coach at this point. Now, he asked right then and there, how much rest were you getting between sets? And I said about 53 to 60 seconds. And he said, next time, don't be afraid of failing. You were still getting rest, you just weren't getting the rest that you wanted. If that means you take 3 minutes off and then you do it again, but we can't be afraid of failing. And I was like, fuck. You're right. You're always right. And then he said, you just wanted more rest. You weren't failing yet. You wanted it to be easier. And then we had a conversation. But that right there, you wanted more rest. You weren't failing it yet. You wanted it to be easier. What a fucking breakthrough that was for me. Because I'm not somebody who lowers the weight in training. I'm not somebody who modifies my workouts unless I'm physically ill and I can't complete something. Like, there have been a handful of times in my training where I've lowered the weight because of the mindset that I had going into this workout. However, now that I'm really becoming like more of a competitive athlete, it's like, okay, we have to fucking break this mindset. So it's a hard mindset to break. The reality is society makes us soft unless we fight back. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. People might tune out now. But, if you just listen to the social norms, if you follow the typical trends of society, and you settle instead of chasing something uncommon, then you will always fall short and you will not be able to accomplish anything great in your life. High performers, that's the difference. You see all these people who are accomplishing great things, making millions of dollars, having successful companies, becoming great athletes, or just doing incredible things in their life, things that you never believed that you could do or never believed were possible. And the people that you look up to, those are high performers. And the difference is they aren't afraid to fail. We all struggle. We all feel physical and emotional pain. We all have flaws, fears, doubts. We all bleed the same blood and we're all human. But high performers are willing to get extremely uncomfortable in order to get better. And that is extremely uncomfortable. They're not like dipping their toe into the cold water. They're fucking diving headfirst into the cold water. They're taking messy action in order to get a result. Instead of waiting for things to be perfect so that they don't fail. But most importantly, like I said, they're not afraid to fail. You have to fail in order to be successful. You can't be successful without failure. But most people avoid it because they don't like the feeling of failure. It just doesn't feel good. Sometimes you might feel a little bit embarrassed when you fail. And the truth is, the only thing that truly hurts when you fail is your ego. And that's on you. You got to check yourself. If you never fail, then you're never going to truly know what your limits are. Most people think their limit is right in front of their face, when the reality is the limit is all the way across the street. You can't even fucking see it. So that really hit me. And I feel like every time that I have a deeper conversation with Eric about the mindset behind training, I elevate a little bit as an athlete. So I appreciate this tough love or this true approach. So Saturday, I had a workout where this is the next day, right? So I was like, this was very fresh in my mind, and it's still fresh in my mind, thus why I'm sharing it with you. I went into the workout on Saturday, and I opened it up. I looked at it. It was a lot. It was tough. But the first part was every 5 minutes for 20 minutes, where it was 6 power cleans at 100 pounds, which is a heavy weight for me in a Metcon. Like, I'm pretty sure it's the first time I've used that weight for a power clean in a conditioning piece, where I'd be fatigued and my heart rate would be up and I'd be moving for efficiency and speed. So it was the 6 power cleans, it was 12 banded chest to bar pull-ups, and then 50 double unders. And if you've been listening to the podcast, you know how I feel about those double unders. 35 double unders, actually, not 50. Fuck. That's today. I have 50 double unders today. But it was 36 double unders. Anyway, it's irrelevant. The most important thing to remember is that the power cleans were really heavy for me, and I've never done that weight in a Metcon piece. So I looked at it, and all night, because he sent it to me that night, all night into the morning when I trained, I was thinking, fuck, that's heavy, fuck, that's heavy, fuck, that's heavy. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. But I kept thinking, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fail. If you fail, who fucking cares? Move on. Failure makes you better. So I was warming up. I felt tight. I felt sore. I didn't feel very explosive at all. And my power cleans just felt really off. If you've done Olympic lifting, you understand that some days you just don't feel quite as explosive or snappy as you'd like. And some days everything just floats really beautifully. Today was one of those days where I just didn't feel good. But I think it was my mindset, to be honest, because all night I had that fear and that doubt in my head saying, it's heavy, it's heavy, it's heavy. So when I stepped up to the bar in the morning and I started warming up, I was like expecting it to be heavy. Your mindset is a powerful thing. So as I was warming up, it did cross my mind. I should lower the weight to 95. And then I thought immediately back to what Eric said. You didn't fail yet, you just wanted it to be easier. And immediately I say, nope, we're not lowering the weight. You didn't even fucking attempt it in the workout yet. You have plenty, like with the time domain, I would have plenty of time to get that shit done. Even if I failed multiple power cleans, I would still have plenty of time. So I decided right then and there that I wasn't going to allow that bullshit mindset to hold me back any longer. I wasn't going to be afraid to fail. And once I kind of accepted that and I said, you know what, I'm not going to be afraid to fail, it was almost like a weight off my shoulder. Like I didn't have the same anxiety going into the workout as I typically would, where I'd be like almost like butterflies in my stomach because I'd be afraid what if I can't execute? Well, some days it's going to be like that. What if you fucking can't execute? Cool, learn from it, grow from it, and move on. Best effort, that's all that matters. And here's how the workout went. So that was just the first part, and then it went immediately into another every 5 minutes for 20 minutes with 18 GHD sit-ups, 12 front squats from the floor at that same 100 pounds, so I would have to power clean it up, so I have more power cleans, and then 12 box jumps, which were basically irrelevant because the front squats were heavy for me at that amount of rep, but also under fatigue. So the first part of the workout, I went into the garage. I always have to pee before I start my Metcon. It's like my little ritual. I warm up or I stretch. I do my go wad. I warm up. I warm up movements for the Metcon or whatever I'm doing first. And then I go pee because nervous peas. And then I go into the Metcon. So I came back into the garage after using the bathroom. I hit the clock, 10-second countdown, went into the first power clean, almost missed it, barely caught it. Cool. I caught it though. Take a big deep breath, go into the next one, missed it. And frankly, had a little bit of a meltdown because I was like, fuck, I'm not going to be able to do this workout. This sucks. I suck. I'm not strong. Why is it like this? Because I can typically hit this weight. What the hell? All those thoughts literally went through my mind in like fucking 2 seconds. And I immediately turned around, hit stop on the clock, and I said, you know what? Take a deep breath. You're okay. You can do this. Take your time. Don't rush it. Get it done. Don't worry about the clock. Just fucking execute. You can do this. Fear, doubt out of your mind. Don't be afraid to fail. So then I reset the clock. We hit the clock. We went into it. I think I failed throughout the entire workout, maybe like 1 or 2 reps, nothing crazy after that. But I took my time. I was like, all right, boom, hit a rep. Wasn't the prettiest rep. Wait, 5-10 seconds, boom, hit another rep. 5-10 seconds, boom, hit another rep. And as I got into like the second and the third round, it started to flow a lot better. And in the final round of the front squat portion, where I would have to power clean it up, front squat, and 12 front squats at that weight is heavy to do unbroken, so I would have to power clean it up again. I failed the final power clean 3 fucking times. But I did it. I got it, and then I finished my squats and did the box jumps. The point of the story is that you have to put fear and doubt aside. Because I knew that in that moment, if I put fear and doubt aside, I knew that I could do this weight and complete the workout, not a problem. Like I said, I almost had a full fucking meltdown, but I collected myself in the moment and said, don't be afraid to fail. Mindset is a huge piece of training and a huge part of life that a lot of people just don't consider or understand the importance of. So, biggest takeaway right here, don't be afraid to fail. Accept that it's going to happen. Understand that it will always happen no matter what you do, no matter what path you're on, you're going to eventually fail. And if you're not failing, I challenge that you're not pushing yourself hard enough. Shift your perspective towards failure and allow it to help you grow So that way you can truly find your limits and become the best version of yourself in any area of your life. I hope this helped you guys out. If it did, please share it with at least one person, and please go out and do one thing today that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.